Okay, so today we're going to be solving quadratics using the square roots method. Like it says in the bold, this method only works when there is no x term. So it's just going to be something x squared, or maybe just x squared, and then plus or minus some number is equal to something. So no x involved anywhere in this, okay? So really it's just two, at most maybe three steps involved here. First one here, isolate x squared. So if I have x squared minus 49 is equal to 0, to isolate x squared, I would add 49 to both sides. So then I isolate it by getting x squared is equal to a positive 49. The next step would be to take the square root of both sides. So I will take the square root of x squared is equal to now the square root of 49. And so what's going to happen here is like how addition and subtraction are inverses of each other, and so, same with multiplication and division. Squaring and square rooting are also inverses of each other, so those two things are going to cancel each other out. So it's just going to leave me with x is equal to the square root of 49, which if we go ahead and look at our perfect squares table, the square root of 49 is equal to 7. Now, one thing we want to always put when we do something like this is a plus and a minus, because if I was to square a positive or a negative, it will give me always a positive number, okay? So that's essentially all we have to do here. 2 steps, and again, maybe some questions will have 3, but we'll look at those more in the future. So if I look at some examples below here, we're going to do 1, 4, 7, and 10. So like number 1, that's just like the example. I have x squared minus 16 is equal to 0. First step is to add 16 to both sides. So then I will get x squared is equal to a positive 16. Then I go ahead, I take the square root of each side. The square and the square root are going to cancel each other out, so I'll just be left with x is equal to the square root of 16. I look at my table, that's going to be 4. So then it'll be x is equal to plus or minus 4. Next question then, I have x squared plus 7 is equal to 88. I go ahead, I subtract 7 from both sides. So then I'll get x squared is equal to 88 minus 7, which is 81. Now that x squared is isolated, I go ahead and take the square root of each side, which will leave me with x is equal to the square root of 81, which is going to be 9. So plus or minus 9. So in all the examples that we've done so far, again, what we've done is we've just moved over the number by adding or subtracting, and then we went and we took a square root. Now we go ahead and we look at a question like number 7, where I have 6x squared is equal to 54. So I'm not adding or subtracting anything this time, but since it's 6x squared, 6 is being multiplied by x squared, I'm going to have to do the inverse of that, which is going to be dividing. So first step I want to do is I want to divide both sides by 6 this time. Once I get that done, that will give me x squared is equal to 9. And now this looks just like the ones we had before. I take the square root of each side. And so the square root of 9 is going to give me 3. So my answer will be plus or minus 3. Again, this works just like the previous ones, except instead of adding or subtracting something, this time we are dividing. Now, number 10, I see I have a fraction being multiplied at the front with 1/2 x squared minus 5 equals 45. And again, we're also now subtracting and multiplying in the same question. So what we want to do first is we want to do either add or subtract first, and then we go ahead and we multiply or divide. And then once we do that, we then take the square root. Okay, so first we're going to add or subtract, then we're going to multiply or divide, and then we're going to take the square root. So first step here, we said we're going to add or subtract. So since it's subtracting 5, we're going to add 5 to both sides. And so then I'll have 1/2 x squared is going to equal to 50, because these are going to cancel each other out. And then now I'm going to either multiply or divide. So if I have multiplying by 1/2, I can either think of it as either dividing by a half, or the same thing as dividing by a half is multiplying by 2. So I'm now going to multiply both sides by 2. So that will give me x squared is equal to 50 times 2, which is 100. And again, we're right back to where we were with those previous questions. Now we just take the square root of each side, and I'll get x is equal to the square root of 100, which is 10. So x is going to be equal to plus or minus 10. All right, I just want you guys to finish this up by doing all of the other questions on this page, and then we're all good to go.